Oh, we have breaking news now on a possible shakeup within the Trump administration. We're learning that U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz is expected to depart his post. This is according to numerous media reports citing anonymous U.S. officials. NBC News has not independently confirmed these reports. We are going to try and get Dan DeLuce, NBC News intelligence reporter, in just a moment to join us from Washington, D.C. But for now, we'll go ahead and move on to our next report. We don't have Dan, right? Okay. Just so you are aware, Mike Waltz, if you do remember, this exit would come about a month after Waltz accidentally invited a journalist from The Atlantic, an editor, into a signal chat between top national security officials who were discussing sensitive information. That chat involved Pete Hegseth as well, the defense secretary. I believe we have Dan DeLuce now. Dan, can I bring you into the conversation?
Yes.
All right, Dan has entered the chat. Dan, what are you learning about this news, this potential departure of Mike Waltz?
Well, this has been something that has been the subject of speculation, as you know, for weeks now, ever since that Signal group chat where he was sort of blamed for accidentally inviting the editor of The Atlantic to that very sensitive conversation about planned military attacks on Yemen. But initially, the president had stood by him, and it was unclear if he was going to be able to hang on or not. And so he has been seen to be sort of on probation or under a lot of jeopardy there. If he does go, which is expected, then this could change a lot of different things about how the administration is approaching the war in Ukraine, tensions with Iran, and tensions with China. Now, for example, I think a lot of Republicans in Congress viewed Mike Waltz as a relatively traditional Republican conservative who favored continued arms deliveries to Ukraine. And if he does step down and if he's forced out, then that could possibly undermine Ukraine's cause and maybe tilt things in favor of Vice President Vance and others who are more skeptical of continued military assistance to Ukraine. But as always with President Trump, it's an improvised, unpredictable, and fluid environment. Mike Waltz tried to introduce some coherence into foreign policy in the Trump administration, but keep in mind, Trump went through 4 national security advisors in his first term, and it appears, based on these reports, that this may be the first national security advisor that he's going to go through on his second term. And of course, the other thing is that Waltz often didn't have influence at certain moments because President Trump has been relying on an old friend, Steve Witkoff, as his envoy to speak to the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, and as well as leaders in the Middle East, even though Mr. Witkoff had no government experience or diplomatic experience. So that put Mike Waltz in a difficult position at times.
Dan, I appreciate that context that President Trump had 4 different national security advisors during his first term. We know Waltz was in the meeting yesterday. Do we have a timeline, what he was told? I mean, Pete Hegseth has also, been accused of similar things, adding people to the group chat on sensitive information. It doesn't appear that they want to get rid of Pete Hegseth anytime soon. So is this about more than just that signal chat?
I think there are many questions here. Why do this now? Why not just do it? If you were going to get rid of him over the signal chat, the group text chain, why not just get him to resign immediately and pull off the Band-Aid and do it quickly? But this is sort of dragged on. And you raise a really good point, which is even though Mike Waltz was the one who invited the journalist on that signal chat, it was Pete Hegseth who divulged a lot of information.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.